think the key to today was staying calm and
20-year-old Alex Ela just broke the internet, and tennis will never be the same. We're talking about a 300% ticket price surge, broadcast executives scrambling to rearrange schedules, and viewership numbers that are making even Serena Williams' peak years look modest. But here's the twist. While sponsors are throwing money at anything Eala related, the world number one just went on record saying this whole phenomenon might be destroying the sport's integrity. Stick around, because what happens next involves a rumored $75 million Nike deal, a Philippine diaspora that spans the globe, and tennis traditionalists who are absolutely losing their minds over what they're calling the Eala tax. Quick favor, if you're loving this tennis content, smash that subscribe button. Shockingly, over 92% of Baseline Z viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free, takes a second, and helps us bring you more stories like this. Already subscribed? You're a legend. Thanks so much. Now back to the main event. Indian Wells 2026 just became ground zero for the biggest cultural shift tennis has seen in decades, and it all centers around one person, Alex Ela. Picture this, the BNP Paribas Open, one of tennis's most prestigious tournaments, suddenly experiencing secondary market ticket prices that rivaled a Super Bowl. We're not talking about the finals here, folks. We're talking about a second-round match on a Tuesday afternoon. Fans are paying premium prices just to watch Eala practice. Yes, you heard that right. Practice sessions. The kind of sessions that used to attract maybe 50 dedicated fans and a handful of coaches are now packed with thousands of screaming supporters, smartphones held high, capturing every forehand, every serve, every single moment. It's like watching Beatlemania, except instead of mop tops and guitars, we've got baseline rallies and topspin forehands. But let's talk numbers, because this isn't just anecdotal hype. According to tournament officials who spoke on condition of anonymity, digital viewership for Eala's matches has shattered every previous record the WTA has on file. Her opening round match, broadcast at what would normally be a dead zone time slot, pulled in streaming numbers that exceeded last year's women's final. Think about that for a second. A first-round match outperforming a championship decider. Broadcast executives at ESPN and Tennis Channel are reportedly in full panic mode. Good panic, the kind where advertisers are literally fighting each other for commercial slots during Eala's matches. One industry insider described it as a feeding frenzy, comparing it to the Serena Williams era, when networks knew they could charge premium rates for any match featuring the American legend. Except this time, it's happening with a player who hasn't even cracked the top 20 yet. The economics are absolutely bonkers. And then there's the Philippine factor. The global Philippine diaspora, estimated at over 10 million people worldwide, has mobilized like never before. Social media is exploding with hashtags. Watch parties are happening in Manila, Los Angeles, Dubai, Toronto, you name it. Philippine television networks are broadcasting her matches live during prime time, preempting regular programming, and nobody's complaining because the ratings are through the roof. This isn't just about tennis anymore. It's about national pride, cultural identity, and a young woman carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire nation on her shoulders. President of the Philippines even tweeted congratulations after her first-round victory, and that tweet became the most engaged political post of the year. Not about policy, not about economics, but about a 20-year-old with a wicked backhand and nerves of steel. Now here's where things get spicy. The phenomenon has been dubbed the Alex Ela effect by the WTA marketing department, who are probably popping champagne bottles every single day. But critics, and there are plenty, have coined a different term, the Eala tax. World number one Aryna Sabalenka dropped a bombshell during her press conference yesterday when she said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the sport's integrity is being compromised by commercial hype. Oof, that's a direct shot across the bow. Sabalenka didn't mention Eala by name, but everybody in that room knew exactly who she was talking about. She went on to express concern that tennis is becoming more about viewership numbers and sponsorship deals than actual competitive merit. And you know what? She's not entirely wrong to be concerned. Because let's be real for a second. When practice sessions are drawing bigger crowds than some tour-level finals, when ticket prices for a second-round match exceed what you'd pay to watch Wimbledon's semifinals, and when broadcast schedules are being rearranged to accommodate one player, it raises questions. Is this growth sustainable? Is it fair to other players grinding it out on tour? And most importantly, what happens if Eala has an early exit, or worse, suffers an injury? The entire economic house of cards could come tumbling down faster than a missed overhead smash. But the WTA isn't backing down. In a statement released through their communications director, the organization celebrated what they're calling unprecedented growth in women's tennis visibility. They pointed to increased merchandise sales, with Eala-branded gear flying off shelves faster than organizers can restock. They highlighted the spike in a tournament attendance across the board, not just for Eala's matches, suggesting that her popularity is lifting all boats. And they teased, without confirming, that major sponsorship announcements are coming soon. Which brings us to the elephant in the room, that rumored $75 million Nike deal. Multiple sources within the sportswear industry have indicated that Nike is preparing to offer Eala a contract that would make her one of the highest-paid athletes in tennis, male or female. $75 million over 5 years. That's $15 million annually, putting her in the same stratosphere as established superstars who have multiple Grand Slam titles. For context, Eala hasn't won a major yet. She's ranked outside the top 20, but Nike isn't paying for what she's accomplished on court. They're investing in what she represents, a massive, engaged, global audience that spans continents, cultures, and demographics. The Philippine market alone represents millions of potential customers who will buy anything associated with their tennis icon. Add in the broader Asian market, the growing tennis fan base in North America, and you've got a marketing executive's dream scenario. Imagine this: Alex Ela sitting in her hotel room at Indian Wells, scrolling through social media, seeing her face on billboards she never posed for, reading headlines in languages she doesn't speak, watching clips of her matches being analyzed on sports networks around the world. The pressure must be absolutely insane. Because here's the thing nobody's really talking about. She's still just 20 years old. Most people at that age are figuring out college majors or entry-level jobs. Eala is navigating international media scrutiny, carrying national expectations, and trying to actually, win tennis matches against the best players in the world. It's like being asked to perform brain surgery while 10,000 people watch and critique every movement. The mental fortitude required is off the charts.
But if you think the pressure is getting to her, think again. During her post-match interview after the first round, Eala was cool as a cucumber. She acknowledged the support from Filipino fans, thanked her team, and then pivoted straight to analyzing her opponent's tactics and her own areas for improvement. No drama, no grand statements, just pure professionalism. When a reporter asked her about the Eala effect and the economic impact, she smiled and said something along the lines of, "I'm just here to play tennis and do my best. Let other people worry about the numbers." Classic deflection, but also genuinely refreshing in an era where athletes are often media-trained to the point of robotic responses. Eala's got this natural charm, this authenticity that makes people want to root for her, which, of course, only amplifies the phenomenon. Now let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes, because this story goes way deeper than packed stadiums and viral highlights. Tournament organizers at Indian Wells are reportedly working overtime to manage what they're internally calling the Eala situation. Security has been tripled around practice courts, media access has been restricted, VIP hospitality packages that specifically guarantee proximity to Eala's matches are selling for amounts that would make your eyes water. One package, rumored to include courtside seats, meet-and-greet access, and signed merchandise, allegedly went for over $50,000 for a second-round match. Let that sink in. That's not tennis pricing. That's Super Bowl, World Cup, once-in-a-lifetime event pricing. And people are paying it, happily, because they want to be part of history in the making. But here's where it gets really interesting. Other players on tour are starting to take notice, and reactions are mixed. Some, particularly younger players and those from emerging tennis markets, are celebrating the increased visibility. They recognize that Eala's popularity is bringing new fans to the sport, which ultimately benefits everyone. More eyeballs mean more sponsorship dollars, better prize money, improved facilities, and greater opportunities across the board. It's a rising tide lifts all boats situation. Then there are the traditionalists, players who've been grinding on tour for years, who see this phenomenon as artificial, manufactured hype that devalues the sport's meritocracy. They'll point out, quite correctly, that tennis is supposed to be about who wins on court, not who sells the most jerseys or crashes streaming servers. And you know what? Both perspectives have merit. Tennis has always walked this tightrope between sport and entertainment, between athletic competition and commercial spectacle. The difference now is that the Eala effect is forcing everyone to confront that tension head-on. Because when a player's commercial value so dramatically exceeds their competitive achievements, it challenges fundamental assumptions about how the sport should operate. Should seeding and scheduling consider viewership potential? Should prize money be influenced by draw power? These aren't hypothetical questions anymore. Tournament directors are actively grappling with them right now. Meanwhile, back in the Philippines, the phenomenon has taken on almost religious proportions. Eala isn't just a tennis player, she's a symbol of national achievement, proof that Filipinos can compete and dominate on the global stage. Her success is being framed as validation of Philippine talent, work ethic, and determination. Government officials are using her as an example in speeches about youth empowerment. Schools are adding tennis programs. Kids who've never held a racket are suddenly asking parents for lessons. The ripple effects extend far beyond ticket sales and viewership numbers. This is cultural impact on a massive scale, the kind that shapes a generation's aspirations and national identity. But let's circle back to that Aryna Sabalenka comment because it's important. When the world #1 expresses concern about integrity being compromised, that's not jealousy talking. That's a legitimate, competitive voice raising valid points about fairness and meritocracy. Sabalenka has earned her ranking through years of consistent excellence, through winning big titles, through proving herself in the biggest moments. And now she's watching someone with a fraction of her achievements command attention and resources that seem disproportionate to on-court results. That's gotta sting. It's like being valedictorian, but watching the class clown get all the graduation party invitations because they're more entertaining. The tennis world is now watching Indian Wells with bated breath. Every Eala match becomes an event. Every press conference gets dissected. Every practice session draws crowds that would make some tour events jealous. And through it all, one question looms larger than any other. Can Alex Ela actually back this up with results? Because here's the brutal truth. Hype fades, viewership numbers fluctuate, and commercial value can evaporate overnight if performance doesn't follow. The pressure to deliver is absolutely crushing. One early exit, one disappointing loss, and the narrative could flip faster than a tweener lob. So here we are, folks. Tennis in 2026 looks fundamentally different than it did just months ago, and one 20-year-old Filipino is the reason why. Whether you call it the Alex Ela effect or the Eala tax depends entirely on your perspective. What's undeniable is that something unprecedented is happening. The economics have shifted, the cultural impact is real, the global diaspora has mobilized, and traditional tennis gatekeepers are scrambling to figure out what it all means. Some see revolution, others see chaos. Most of us are just here eating popcorn and watching history in real time. Because love it or hate it, dismiss it or celebrate it, the Eala phenomenon isn't going anywhere. And that rumored $75 million Nike deal, that's just the beginning. Stay tuned, tennis fans, because if you thought this was wild, just wait until she actually wins a Grand Slam. The internet might actually break.